Three new huge English translations have been announced towards the end of the year for JRPGs. Two of them fan translations and one official. So let's first talk about the ones you can play, and we can end with one or technically two you can look forward to. And the first one is Emerald Dragon. For those of you who don't know, this is a game that was originally released on old Japanese PCs, such as the PC 8801. It's a cult classic game in Japan, but isn't really very well known in the Western RPG sphere at all. The Super Famicom version was fan-translated quite a while back, and people liked it well enough, but the version that is really the best is actually the PC Engine version, also known as TurboGrafx over here. There are different reasons for that, one being that the PC Engine version has fully animated cutscenes to bring the story to life. The Super Famicom version recreates those with in-game graphics instead. The PC Engine version also has a ton of Japanese voice acting, especially for the main characters, so that makes you feel more connected to the characters. And the map is also significantly changed from the PC Engine version to the Super Famicom version in a similar way to what happened with the Lunar games, from the Sega CD to the PS1. But the difference here is that this happened for Emerald Dragon for space limitation reasons, not necessarily because those maps are better designed on the Super Famicom. Actually, many think the pacing on PC Engine is better. So now we have a full English translation of what is considered by many to be the best version of Emerald Dragon, and it's actually a pretty good game too. Don't expect it to be on the same level necessarily as a Final Fantasy or a Dragon Quest, but there will definitely be people who prefer it to those because of things like the story. Definitely check it out. Don't be intimidated by the English patching process. It's a lot simpler than it seems. It's mostly just drag and drop and then click a button. The second game to get a translation is Ys 5 Lost Kefin Kingdom of Sand for the PS2. This is another one that has different versions. The PS2 version was made by Taito, and it's actually not necessarily considered the better version. The reasons for that are primarily because of gameplay reasons. There are parts of it that could be generally thought of as better depending on your preferences for graphics, and the story is apparently more solid, but combat in the PS2 version is one of the weaker in the Ys series, which is a pretty big problem because it's a big focal point of early Ys games, though the stories are always fun as well. Plus, for the bit that I have played, combat isn't terrible. It just feels different than many of the other Ys games. For example, there's a shield blocking mechanic that is very important to figure out how to use early. If you don't properly block and learn how to fight while blocking, you can die pretty quick to some enemies. The combat overall feels a bit less quick-paced and a little more clunky than many other Ys games. That doesn't mean it isn't worth playing, though. I definitely recommend trying both the PS2 version and the Super Famicom version to see which one fits your personal tastes better. And who knows, maybe you'll actually like it enough to play both. It's interesting to see it regardless though, because it represents a pretty big change from the early Ys series to what it would become. The next few games in the series would all be on the same engine, and that's where the Ys series really started to grow. The last translation is one that I've been waiting to hear news about, and it's finally here. It is the Tenshino Uda Collection. Tenshino Uda is a series of 3 games in which we only have the fan translation of the Super Famicom game, which is the 3rd game in the series. The collection has the first 2, which are on the PC Engine, and Tenshino Uda is another set of games that would probably be considered in the cult classic territory. Not super mainstream, but well regarded in Japan. They're known for having good stories and music, but the graphics aren't going to blow you away. They're more about the emotional resonance of the story. It still uses the tropes of that era, but has its own takes on how those are used, with some heavy themes like loss, consequences, and it leans a bit into ideas about morality. For this one, I would say don't expect it to be something completely different. Mechanically, the way it looks and plays will be very similar to other JRPGs you've played on retro systems. The difference is in how things are approached, and it's just a good polished experience that I think fans of that era will appreciate. Right now, there's been an announcement of a physical edition for the English version that will be put out by Limited Run Games. It'll be for the Nintendo Switch, but if they follow the path that they took for the Cosmic Fantasy Collection by the same publisher, it's likely a digital version will get released in the near future. So be on the lookout for that announcement sometime this year, I would assume. And those are the big ones I really wanted to talk about. I'm personally very excited, especially for Tenshino Uda and Emerald Dragon. I think the PC Engine has been criminally under-translated for those of us in the West. There are actually a ton of great JRPGs on the system that many people have no idea even exist. The Tengai Makyo series, for example, has a ton of games on PC Engine with amazing visuals, really fun stories, and we're just now starting to see fan translation for those. Hopefully we see many more, and we can get all of these in English soon. Make sure to thank the translators of all of these games, because without them, many of us would never get to experience them. For more videos about RPGs of all kinds, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.